guys, it's Katya. I am back with a book review. Today we're doing books 5 and 6 of Pretty Little Liars. I did books 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in 2 different videos. They're under a playlist called book reviews. Book 5 is called Wicked. Last we left off, we found out Mona was A, Emily's a hoe. Spencer thought she killed Allison, but she didn't. And then Arya and Ezra are like on and off. I don't know. Books 1 through 4 of Pretty Little Liars is basically like season 1. Book 5 starts with a flashback of Allison in the 6th grade. It's the school's annual time capsule competition, which is every year the school cuts up a school flag and hides the pieces with certain people, and whoever finds the pieces gets to decorate them, and then they put them all together and they have like the completed flag, and it ends up in the time capsule. And if you get a piece, you're like kind of cool, kind of popular, you know? So this year Allison's brother Jason has been chosen to hide one of the pieces. So Allison's telling everyone like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna get a piece of that flag. And then Arya, Emily, Spencer, and Hannah, who aren't friends yet with each other or Allison, they all individually overhear this conversation that Allison is having and are like, okay, I'm gonna go to the De Laurentiis' house and sneak around the backyard and try to see if I can find where Jason hides the flag so I can get a piece and like be a little popular. It doesn't show us what happens that night yet, but it cuts to months later when Allison suddenly drops her popular friend group and then suddenly asks Arya, Hannah, Spencer, and Emily to be her best friends without an explanation. So we later get that explanation about why that happened, but that is kind of how they all became friends. So now let's start with Hannah. So in book 4, Hannah's mom moved to Singapore, so Hannah's now living with her step family and her dad. So her dad is urging her and her stepsister Kate to be friends now because they live under the same roof. And Kate actually seems like she's trying to be her friend. Like she's like, Hannah, look at us, we're so hot, we're so cool, we can be like the most popular girls at the high school. And Hannah kind of agrees. She's like, you know what, yeah, now that I lost Mona because she's fucking crazy, you and me can be the popular ones. Kate adds Naomi and Riley, who are Allison's ex-popular friends from that time capsule flashback, to the friend group. So now they have a little popular group of 4. Obviously they skyrocket to popularity. They're like a group of like sexy little blondes. Everything's going great, but remember Hannah's kind of dating Lucas, and Lucas is not popular, so he's not kind of fitting into their lifestyle, so she's kind of distancing herself from him. Also, Hannah doesn't really trust Kate. Like she's so convinced that Kate is plotting against her, and like the little text messages from A is kind of egging her on. She's like, yeah, I know A's telling me not to trust her, like maybe I don't trust her. So as like a precaution, Hannah spreads a rumor around the whole school that Kate has herpes. Lucas finds out about this and breaks up with her, but Hannah doesn't really care. She's like, I'm gonna maintain my popularity, Kate's not gonna usurp me. But Hannah's father hears about this and punishes Hannah by saying, everything you do, you have to take Kate with you from now on. So that kind of backfired because it turns out that Kate actually wasn't plotting against her. Now for Arya. So Arya's mom gives her a ticket to a museum. Her and her mom go, and Arya meets this cute man looking at a painting because remember Ezra moved away, so they're not together anymore. So they talk a little, they don't exchange names or anything, but you know, they're like flirting, and then she has to leave. Well, later Arya's mom is getting ready for a blind date, and when Arya opens the door, it's the cute little art goer guy, and his name is Xavier. Arya decides not to tell her mom because it's the first date she's had since the divorce with her father. So she's like, you know what, we didn't do anything, it was just a little flirting, go date my mom. Well, it ends up that Xavier is a fucking creep. It's kind of parallel to the Zach storyline that you see in the show, but Xavier the fucking creep and kisses Arya one night, and she pushes him off and was like, dude, you're dating my mom. And he's like, well, if you tell her what I just did, then I'm gonna tell your mom that you hit on me. And Arya's so scared of this because he's like holding it over her head that she actually ends up moving out of the mom's house and in with her dad and his new girlfriend Meredith. Now let's talk about Emily. So Emily is still grieving Allison's death. She's never really gotten over it, but now also her breakup with Maya. And to cheer her up, Emily's mom is like, listen, why don't you go to this church fundraiser? Like, I know it's church, but like there's a band and it's gonna be a lot of fun. You can meet new people. So she's like, sure. She goes, and there is a live band, and she is attracted to the main singer, who is a guy. So that's why I'm thinking Emily's bisexual in these books, or it's just really stupid writing. But Emily has a fat crush on the boy in the church band. His name is Isaac. They're flirting. He eventually gets her number and asks her on a date, and Emily says yes, and they go on a date and they have a lot of fun and they end up kissing, and she's like, what the fuck, I thought I didn't like boys, but now I like Isaac. She's very confused, as we all are. So now let's go to Spencer. Spencer is in the trenches because last book she stole Melissa's essay and it came out. So these are like the repercussions in this book. She lost her vice president role at school, she lost her role in the play, she lost valedictorian, and her parents are like shunning her again. Also, Spencer's grandma died, and it doesn't matter because they weren't that close, but it leads to a big revelation. So they're at the courthouse to hear her will. Her grandma left $2 million to her natural born grandchildren, and Spencer didn't get any money. And Melissa's like, well, pay attention to the wording, like only natural born, so maybe you were adopted. Spencer's also starting to get tutored by Andrew Campbell, who she fake dated in the last book, but she actually starts to really like him this time, and she tells him about the fact that she's probably adopted, and he's like, oh, well, there's a whole database of adopted children trying to find their mothers. So he types her name in. They wait for like the results of, oh, you matched with this girl. But anyway, Spencer puts this at the back of her mind. So all the girls meet up at Spencer's house, and they talk about that night for Capture the Flag, where it was kind of a coincidence that they all ended up going to Allison's house to try to look for the flag pieces, like separately, when they didn't even know each other yet. And then Melissa comes in and interrupts their conversation to tell them that Ian's been released on bail because he needs to visit his mother with cancer. So it is kind of like the Garrett storyline that happens when Garrett gets out to see his mother in the hospital. But yeah, so Ian's moving to house arrest. Spencer talks to Melissa about Ian being released, and Melissa's like, I really don't think Ian killed Allison. That night, while Ian's supposed to be on house arrest, he actually ends up sneaking to Spencer's house and saying that he didn't kill Allison, but he did see another blonde girl that night. The next day at court, everyone shows up and is like, okay, well, I'm gonna see. He says he has evidence, but Ian is missing from court. He never showed up. So court is on hold for Allison's murder trial, and Spencer goes back to Andrew Campbell. They're talking about the adoption. Things get a little steamy and romantic, and right when they're like about to kiss, Andrew gets an email that someone matched Spencer's DNA, as in he found her birth mother. So now all the storylines kind of converge, and Ian texts Spencer to meet him in the woods so he can explain everything. The girls go out to the woods, they're looking for him, they're like, why in the woods, Ian, why in the woods? Hannah sees like a figure run through the trees, and this kind of like stirs a memory in Arya's mind about that day at the time capsule, like when they're all sneaking around the De Laurentiis backyard. So Arya remembers that she actually did run into Jason, and he just gave her a time capsule piece, the one they were all looking for. She snaps out of it, the girls like look around, and then finally they see Ian's dead body in the woods. Dun, dun, dun. That's book 5, that's where it ends, and then now we get into book 6, which is called Killer. So it starts with all the girls in the woods standing over Ian's dead body. They literally run to get the police. They're like, I found a dead body in the woods. But when they get back with the police, of course, the dead body is gone. Similar to what happens in the TV show. Now we get into each girl's storyline. So we're gonna start with Emily. Emily and Isaac are dating. They are full on dating. She is no longer a lesbian, they are dating. But things are getting really weird because every time she hangs out at his house, his mom is being really creepy to them. Like, Emily even finds her cutting out pictures of Isaac and Emily together and like cutting Emily's head off like a creepy stalker. And his mom is like threatening Emily when they're alone, like, you're not good enough for my son, whatever, you know, church go mom things. But this does not deter Emily, and actually after one night alone together, Emily and Isaac decide to have sexy time. So Emily loses her virginity, but his mother actually walks in right at the end when they're putting on their clothes and bans Emily from the house, because remember, they are a church-going family. He is not allowed to have sexy time with girls. And when this is happening, Isaac's really conflicted because family's really important to him, but like, he's dating Emily, and Emily's like, well, you know what, I have an easy way to decide this because your mom's fucking crazy. And so she tells him about all the picture cutting and the threats, but he doesn't believe her, and he ends up breaking up with Emily for lying. Later in the story, Isaac actually finds the cut up pictures of Emily's face in a drawer and is like, I'm really sorry, I should have believed you. But Emily does not take him back because we don't settle. Apart from that storyline, there's also a storyline where Emily actually finds out that Jason used to be a patient at Radley Sanitarium. So this leads Emily into thinking that Jason killed Allison. So Hannah's storyline, so interesting. Like, this is weird. So Kate, Hannah's stepsister, is like, you know what we're missing here, girls? We all need boyfriends. Like, this is what's gonna solidify our popularity. So they're all like scanning the cafeteria and they're like, who do you want? Like, who are you gonna pick? All this stuff. And Kate says, ooh, I like Mike Montgomery, Arya's little brother. Now Hannah feels like a competitive spark. She's like, no, I like Mike Montgomery, like a little bitch. So they start like kind of competing for Arya's little brother and to see which one he'll date. So they do like all these nice things for Mike, and he's like loving the attention. He's like a little fuckboy in this book, and eventually he picks Hannah to date, and Hannah's like, ha, like I got the guy, I win. But Kate reveals that she was actually never interested in Mike. He's literally younger than them. She was just trying to embarrass Hannah. So Hannah's literally stuck dating Mike. She like kind of tells him, yeah, sorry, it was just a competition between me and my stepsister. Like, I don't know if I really like you. And Mike goes, wait, that's so funny because I made a bet with my friends that you would date me. So they kind of are like, why are we the same person? We're really similar. They kind of get to know each other. They kind of start actually liking each other. Their feelings become real, so they become official. Mike and Hannah. Hannah and Arya's little brother Mike start dating in this book. Now we'll get to Arya. Arya and Jason reconnect after this like flashback of him giving her the piece of the flag. Very romantic. Things start to get a little flirty, a little steamy. And Emily's like, no, Arya, like I think he killed Allison. He was in Radley. I found his file. So Arya, to test this, is like, you know what? Radley's reopening, not as a sanitarium, but like as a fancy hotel, kind of like they did in the TV series. So Arya's like, Jason, come to this like opening with me. And Jason's like, sure, because he doesn't know where it is. But when they get there, Jason's like, this is Radley Sanitarium, and he freaks out. He freaks out and he breaks up with her. So now Spencer. So last book we talked about, there's a match for her birth mother on this website. So she actually meets up with this woman. Her name's Olivia Cadwell, and she's like, yeah, I'm your mother, like I'm sorry I gave you up, but like I want to get to know you. And Spencer's so grateful because her family has shunned her, so she's like without a family. So they meet, and like Olivia's like, listen, I live in New York, like I want you to spend some time together. Why don't you move your college funds into this account, and like I could pay for your apartment and like all this stuff. And so Spencer does it, and Andrew Campbell is like, dude, you need to slow down, like you just met this woman and you're like moving funds around. And Spencer's like, I need a family, like I need a mother, I don't care. So after the transaction goes through of Spencer literally moving all her money into this account, Olivia disappears, and Spencer realizes that she is a scam artist that just stole all her college money. What also is going on is that after they literally found his dead body, Spencer uses her sister Melissa's computer and finds text messages between Melissa and Ian. So Spencer's like, what the hell? Ian is still alive. I literally was standing over his dead body. And the most damning message she sees in that conversation is Ian saying that it was Detective Wilden and Jason that killed Allison, not him. So they all convene at Spencer's house, and Spencer tells them, dude, it was Jason and Wilden, like I'm telling you, Ian said he's alive, whatever. They're catching up, and suddenly a fire breaks out at Spencer's house. They're all running out, but like things are burning around them. Someone is caught on a tree on fire in the backyard, and Arya's like pulling them out, and when she pulls her out, she realizes that person's not one of her friends. It's Allison, and she's alive. Boom. Plot twist. Honestly, that plot is not that far off, but it gets freaking weird, so keep watching, guys. If you want to see books 7 and 8, tune into the next video on my book reviews, and I'll see you next time. Bye.